We've looked to the stars for centuries, drawn by their mystery and allure. But space? It has no mercy. It holds no guarantees. One mistake, one small flaw, and everything we've worked for can vanish, lost in the black abyss. Today, we dive into the dark side of the universe, the disasters that have shaken the foundations of space exploration. From fiery disasters to silent tragedies, we'll uncover the risks that threaten our very existence in the great unknown void. Buckle up. The cold, silent void waits for no one. Level 0. Before we venture into the horrors, let's pause for a moment. Let's remember why we go to space in the first place. Space is a wonder. Space is a possibility. Space is hope. The idea of exploring the cosmos, the sheer audacity to reach beyond the safety of Earth, has driven us for centuries. Satellites orbiting Earth, rovers landing on Mars, astronauts floating in space. Each mission is a testament to human achievement, a symbol of what we can do when we push the limits of our capabilities. But here's the truth. For every triumph, there's a disaster waiting in the wings. The cosmos isn't kind. Every launch is a gamble. Every calculation is a step into the unknown. One small mistake, one tiny miscalculation, and everything can go wrong. Level 0 represents that promise, the beauty of space exploration. It's a glimpse at humanity's potential, but also the dangerous precipice on which we stand. Space is a dream, but one misstep, and it's a nightmare. Level 1. The first attempts at space were raw, bold, unpredictable. Rockets were fragile, unstable, unproven. Every launch was a risk, and many of them failed. Vanguard TV3, 1957. The US had a dream to launch the first American satellite, but the rocket barely lifted off. It exploded almost immediately, seconds after launch. A guidance system failure, a simple miscalculation, one small mistake, and everything went up in flames. Across the world, the Soviet Union was pushing boundaries too. In 1958, R-7, carrying Sputnik 2, took off. Mid-flight, an issue with the booster system caused a violent explosion. Again, a miscalculation. The technology was still new, unstable, testing the limits. These weren't just technical issues, they were warnings. Rockets weren't just tools, they were ticking bombs, ready to ignite with the slightest flaw. Level 1 shows us the fragile beginnings of space exploration. The first steps were full of hope, but also filled with fiery disasters. Rockets were fragile. One misstep, and they crumbled. Space seemed perfect, but in those early years, rockets were bombs waiting to explode. Level 2, January 27th, 1967. The Apollo 1 crew was preparing for a routine test. Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee, brave men, eager to make history. They sat inside their command module, waiting for the countdown. But fate was cruel. The capsule, filled with pure oxygen, was a disaster waiting to happen. A spark ignited, flames surged, the fire spread faster than the crew could react. The module turned into an inferno, trapping the astronauts inside. No escape, no chance. They burned alive in their seats. Apollo 1 was supposed to be a stepping stone toward the moon. Instead, it became a painful reminder of how fragile human space exploration can be. Level 2 is the first tragic loss of human life in space exploration, a disaster that happened on the ground, not in the void. The fire consumed everything. It wasn't space that killed them, it was our own creation. Not in space, not in the void, but right here on Earth. The fire claimed them. Level 3. June 30th, 1971. The Soyuz 11 crew returned to Earth after a successful mission aboard the Salyut 1 space station. They were supposed to land safely. A routine mission, nothing more. But something went horribly wrong. As the capsule descended, something failed. A valve malfunctioned. The pressure inside the capsule plummeted. The crew, Georgy Dobrovolsky, Viktor Patsayev, and Vladislav Volkov, suffocated. In silence. No flames, no explosions, just the slow suffocation in a sealed capsule. In the deadly silence of space, death is often unnoticed. No screams, no warning, just an inevitable end. The crew's deaths weren't from a violent disaster. They were taken by an invisible killer. Pressure loss, unnoticed, unforgiving. Level 3 teaches us that space doesn't need fire or explosions. It only needs a small failure, a crack in the armor, and you're gone. Level 4, January 28th, 1986. The Space Shuttle Challenger was the future. It was supposed to be humanity's reusable spacecraft carrying astronauts, cargo, and even a teacher into the sky. A symbol of hope, a triumph of science. 73 seconds. That's all it took for everything to go wrong. An O-ring in the solid rocket booster, weakened by the cold temperatures, failed. Hot gases began leaking, and in an instant, the shuttle was engulfed in flames. The crew of 7, Krista McAuliffe, Francis Scobie, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Judith Resnick, Gregory Jarvis, and Michael J. Smith, lost their lives. The mission was a nightmare, watched by millions of people, including thousands of children who had been excited to see a teacher in space. The Challenger disaster wasn't just about a technical malfunction, it was a tragic human error. NASA ignored warnings about the O-rings. They launched anyway, they ignored the risks, and it cost them. Level 4 is a public televised tragedy, a national disaster that left a scar on space exploration, a reminder that no matter how advanced the technology, human error can undo it all. 73 seconds. That's all it took for a triumph to turn into tragedy. Level 5, February 1st, 2003, Space Shuttle Columbia was returning home after a successful mission. The crew had completed their task and were coming back to Earth, but something went wrong. A piece of foam insulation broke off during launch, striking the shuttle's left wing. At first, it seemed like a minor issue. After all, foam wasn't supposed to be a big deal, but that small piece of debris caused a catastrophic failure. When Columbia re-entered the atmosphere, the damage became apparent. The shuttle's heat shield, compromised by the foam, couldn't withstand the intense heat. The shuttle disintegrated in the sky. 7 astronauts, Rick D. Husband, William C. McCool, Michael P. Anderson, Elon Ramon, Kalpana Chawla, David M. Brown, and Laurel B. Clark, perished. The world watched, unaware that the real danger had been building for days, hidden from view. Columbia's disaster wasn't about a spectacular explosion. It was about the slow, invisible destruction of a mission weeks in the making. A tiny piece of foam, ignored in the rush to launch, caused the end of the mission. A piece of foam, that's all it took to bring a shuttle crashing down. Level 6. In 1962, Mariner 1 launched toward Venus. It was supposed to be a breakthrough, a giant leap for planetary exploration. Instead, it was lost. Not to space itself, but to a single error. A small glitch in the code, a misplaced symbol, and the probe veered off course. There was no explosion, no fire, just a slow, quiet failure. The mission vanished into space, with no warning. Then came Mars Climate Orbiter, 1998. Another high-stakes mission to Mars, but again, a small mistake turned catastrophic. Engineers used imperial units in one part of the spacecraft's trajectory calculations while others used metric units. A simple mix-up, and the orbiter veered off course. It entered Mars' atmosphere too low and burned up. No second chances. Level 6 is the silent disaster. Space doesn't care if you're human or machine. It doesn't need flames or explosions to destroy a mission. A single oversight, a minor mistake, and everything vanishes, swallowed by the cold, dark void. One wrong calculation and an entire mission is lost to the blackness of space. Level 7. Spacewalking, the most dangerous job in the universe. In 1990, the Hubble Space Telescope revolutionized our understanding of the universe, but it wasn't perfect. After reaching orbit, engineers discovered a flaw in its primary mirror. The telescope's data would be completely unusable unless it was repaired. The solution? Send astronauts into space to fix it. The astronauts floated outside the shuttle, tethered only by thin lines to make the delicate repairs. The danger was undeniable. One mistake, one faulty tether, one incorrect movement, and an astronaut could be lost forever. These spacewalks required extraordinary skill and precision. There was no room for error. In 1993, the spacewalking team performed their mission. They fixed the Hubble, but the risks were enormous. Spacewalking astronauts are exposed to the harsh, unforgiving environment of space, where even the smallest problem can lead to disaster. Every movement is life or death. Imagine floating in space, tethered by a thin line, knowing one wrong move could be your last. Level 8. The Mir space station was a testament to Soviet space achievements, but it also served as a constant reminder of how fragile we are in space. In 1997, a cargo spacecraft, Progress 234, collided with Mir. The docking system malfunctioned, causing the spacecraft to strike the station's hull. The impact punctured the hull and damaged one of the station's solar panels. The collision could have killed the crew, but they were lucky. They managed to repair the damage and survive. This wasn't an isolated incident. Throughout its time in orbit, Mir faced repeated close calls, collisions with space debris, failures in its life support systems, and technical malfunctions all contributed to the ongoing risk of disaster. Mir was constantly bombarded by micrometeoroids and fragments of space debris, moving at incredible speeds, up to 17,000 miles per hour. Even a tiny piece of debris could cause catastrophic damage. Space was never kind to Mir, and the dangers of orbiting debris were always looming over the station. Level 9. The ISS is the pinnacle of human cooperation in space. It's a floating laboratory, a symbol of how far we've come, but it's also vulnerable. Space debris is a constant threat to the ISS. In 2013, a small piece of debris, no bigger than a paint chip, was headed straight for the station, traveling at 17,500 miles per hour. It could have destroyed the ISS if it hit. The crew had to act quickly and move the station out of harm's way. In 2018, another piece of debris threatened the station. Even though astronauts are trained to handle these situations, it's a constant risk. The ISS is orbiting Earth at incredible speeds, and a collision could be fatal. What's terrifying is the fact that these threats are invisible. You can't see space junk. You can't predict where it will come from. Every day, the ISS crew lives with the knowledge that a piece of debris could tear through their home at any moment. Level 9 tells us that even the most advanced technology, the most impressive human achievements are always at risk. Space debris moves faster than a bullet. A single hit could end it all. Level 10. As we look to the future of space exploration, Mars missions, lunar colonies, private space travel, the risks are greater than ever. We're on the brink of commercial space travel. Companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are working to make space more accessible. But this new era of exploration comes with unprecedented dangers. Life support systems, radiation exposure, propulsion failures. Any one of these could be disastrous. The stakes have never been higher. We've learned from the past. The lessons of Challenger, Columbia, and Mir have shaped safety protocols. But even with these precautions, the risks of space exploration are real. Mars missions, for example, could face challenges no one has fully prepared for. The radiation in space could lead to serious long-term health issues for astronauts. Level 10 is the looming threat. Space may offer endless possibilities, but it also comes with danger. The cost of pushing beyond Earth is higher than we think, and no matter how advanced our technology becomes, we are still vulnerable to the harsh realities of space. Ready to risk everything for a ticket to Mars? Just remember, one mistake could be a one-way trip. Every mission is a gamble. Every launch, every step forward comes with risks. The beauty of space lies in its vast potential, but the cost of failure can be devastating.